Did you feel that? That man sung that song from his toes this morning. I saw the energy just come up from his toes. Oh my goodness, William. Somebody just come on, bring me the Kleenex. Just bring it, bring it, bring it. Oh my God. Ain't God good? Someone's supposed to say all the time. And all the time? Okay, now we're in church. Now we're in church. All right. Woo. This is why we come to church. This is why we tune in. After a week of uncertainty, after a week of challenge, after a week of struggle, after a week of stress, isn't it refreshing to be reminded of all, and I mean all, of the wonderful ways that God has blessed us? And to come to the conclusion that regardless of what has taken place that doesn't seem to be in my favor, regardless of that, in spite of that, despite that, I will sing. Not just talk about it, I will sing about the goodness of God. Because my heart carries the proof. I've got the evidence right here. I don't have to look any further. I don't have to judge by appearances. I've got the answer right here. If I just hold to that in God's unchanging hands, as they say, I'm going to be all right. You're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Look at somebody and say, you're all right. You're all right. It's all right. It's the perfect song for this time of year. We're going into the Thanksgiving season. And I heard a lot of thanks being given in that song. And Spirit is telling me to do something because I get it. I know for myself how it can feel going into a holiday season when a loved one may not be present any longer. At least it seems. When a loved one may have shuffled off the mortal coil and has transitioned into their new experience of life, just not here on this earth plane. And now we're going into a holiday season where they used to be at the table and they may not be there seemingly any longer. Physically is how I'm speaking about it, yes? And so Spirit is just telling me that it's okay. It's okay now. That we just reach out and touch someone close by. Just to assure them We don't have to ask, are you the one, or are you the one, are you the one? We're all the ones. Would you do that for me right now? Would you just touch the hand or the arm of a person close to you? If you're watching this on live stream, if you're watching it with someone, would you just touch their shoulder, hold their hand? You never know who it is. We think we know. We really don't know. You may have just reassured someone who needed to feel that touch, to know that they are a part, that they belong, that we feel them, that we hear them. And once again, it's all right. We're going to get through it. We're going to make it through, yes? You know, this is one of my, people are still touching each other. You can stop now. It's okay. All right. You got it. You got it. And or not, continue, if you, will someone come here and touch me, please?
I will. You missed yours.
Thank you. Thanksgiving is a wonderful time of year. I don't know how it all began, and I'm sure there's a history book somewhere that explains it, but I'm just thanking God that we can give thanks, together, collectively, as a country, as a world. Yes, it's just a wonderful thing. As a family, I really believe that, I'm of the belief that in some way, shape, or form, we are all the same. In fact, all families in many ways are the same. So when families come together to celebrate Thanksgiving, much that is going on in my household, much that is going on around my dinner table, I'm of the belief that the same thing is happening at many other dinner tables, in many other households. Yes? Do you get the sense that that's happening as well? Yeah, I do too. And one of the things that's happening all over this country, at least, is that we are stuffing ourselves tighter than we stuffed the turkey. I mean, we got the layout all out on the table and everything. I know, we're not there yet. We're not at Thanksgiving quite yet. There's still a couple of weeks away. But I'm just priming you. I'm just getting started. I just figure I'd start a little earlier this year so that we can better prepare for this opportunity that we have around the holiday season. And so here we are, stuffing ourselves tighter than we stuffed the turkey. And in my household growing up, I remember we had such magnificent conversations. It was unlike any other conversation that we had around the dinner table at any other time of year. First of all, we had aunts and uncles and grandmas and nanas and granddads around the table as well. And that didn't always happen, but on that particular day, on Thanksgiving Day, it did. It did. And then the other piece is we didn't always have wine flowing. Now, I'm in California, so I imagine that wine always flows in California. But in Detroit, Michigan, motor oil flowed more than wine. And so, but not at the table. But on Thanksgiving, wine flowed. It was Reuniti and cold duck. Anybody remember cold duck? Well, how do you, listen, how does a wine, a beverage, become named cold duck? There's no duck in the bottle. How did that happen? Anyway, Anyway, the wine is flowing, and so my mom, the matriarch of our family, would, with each passing glass, become freer with her words and with her wisdom. Now, that's a whole other sermon, and I'm not going to give you that. You come to me, I can give you the rest of that story some other time. I'd love to. It was absolutely amazing. It was a wonderful time, and wonderful memories that I have, filled with laughter, and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of food. Lots of food. So much so that one of the great memories that I have is of my father. And my father and I always watch my dad. I am psychologically, mentally, spiritually so much like him and model after him. A very humble man, a hard-working blue-collar man, a man that knew how to delegate authority. A man who loved his wife dearly, and a man who, as he was getting older, had a little more trouble getting up the stairs of our home. And during this day, it became all the more apparent because he had a lot more to take up those stairs. You see, because we were just eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. And so it became a joke. It became fun in my family because he would excuse himself from the table and he would want to go upstairs and get comfortable and watch the football games on his TV and then rest. After a full day of cooking and preparing and cleaning, he joined in with my mom in all of that. You know, you go, your honeydews, and you go to the store to get the things that you should have gotten the days before. There's always something that you forget that you have to go out to the store for, right? And so he would excuse himself. And our staircase, we had a staircase that had a landing and then another staircase. And so there was like 7 steps, the things you remember when you're, from your childhood, right? So you would have 7 steps and then this landing and then another 7 steps and then you would reach, the second floor. And so when my father would excuse himself, he'd push back from the table, he would get up, he would stretch a little bit, and then he would start walking to the front stairs. And this is when everybody that remained around the table would watch him. We would watch him, and then he would just go out of sight when he gets closer to the stairs. And then we would look at each other. And then we would count the stairs with him. And so we could hear the stairs creak as he was going up. And so it was somewhere around the 5th or 6th stair that he would begin to grunt. And so we would count it down. And so he would start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we would just laugh and laugh and laugh about that because it was the same every single Thanksgiving. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanksgiving is a powerful and wonderful holiday. And the next day became unofficially the holiday that no one talks about. What do you think I'm talking about? Someone said Black Friday, but another person said the unofficial holiday of overeating. Very, very close. I call it the Great Renunciation, also known as Elimination Day. The problem with that is that it comes at a moment of guilt, regret, and shame. Our altars move from one part of the household to another. And in some extreme cases, people find themselves praying to the porcelain god. Because why? Because we ate too much. This is the day that we make a powerful, if not painful, distinction between eating to restore and renew the body temple as opposed to overeating to satisfy our appetites. And when we think about it, it seems so antithetical to what Thanksgiving is really about. Why did we just do that? Why did we just satisfy, why did we just try to satisfy our appetites by overeating? Why didn't we just enjoy the moment with everyone, and when we were full, continue to enjoy the moment with everyone, but not feel that we have to stuff ourselves? There's a popular antacid that used to have a commercial years ago. I know I'm dating myself, but that's okay. I'm in memory lane today. And it captures the essence of this uncelebrated holiday that we know now as the Great Renunciation or Elimination Day. And when you get a chance, I want you to go and Google the phrase, "I can't believe I ate the whole thing." Anybody remember that? Oh, yeah. You see, this is how people normally do the practice of renunciation as an afterthought. And the most common renunciation statements are, "I shouldn't have eaten so much," and "never again." Anybody ever say "never again"? Anybody, it was in that moment you were in, what should we call it? I'm trying to keep this do this as diplomatic as possible because that's a skill of mine. Anybody ever find themselves in the reading room, shaking their head and saying, "Never again, never, ever again"? Interestingly enough, that's a renunciation. You are renouncing the mistake that you made by stuffing yourself, but you're doing it after the fact. You're doing it in a moment where you still have to suffer the consequences. And what we teach here in Unity about renunciation is that we have an opportunity to be so conscientious about the powers that we have that we can renounce something and not find ourselves reaping the consequences as a result. You hearing where I'm going with this? And so we have enough memories, we have enough experiences that we can reflect on all of the things that we're thankful for and all of the things that don't align with the good that we have received. We can, before we get to the table, before we get to the next experience that would bring us to the "I can't believe I did that" moment, before that happens, we can renounce it. We can say, "Not this time. Not for me. Thanks, but no thanks." That's a great one. Someone ought to write that down. That is a powerful renouncement. Thanks, You get that? I'm still thankful, but no thanks. You see how you still are in a space where you are lovingly renouncing it. And that's where you want to be with anything that you renounce. You never want to renounce something in a way that is fiery or angry or has strain to it. It should be with ease and grace. And that's why the turkey and Thanksgiving analogy is so powerful, because on Renunciation Day, the great Renunciation Day or Elimination Day, oftentimes it's not with ease and grace. Oftentimes it's with stress and strain and pain, torment sometimes. You get that? And I use this analogy, I use the holiday because it's an easy one to tie into other opportunities, other areas in our lives that we go through the same thing. And so this is a microcosm. This conversation around Thanksgiving is a microcosm of a much more significant macrocosm. In many areas of our lives, we take in or we take on very heavy loads, overloads, more than we can chew, all that we can handle. And because we invested so much energy into it, we intentionally or unintentionally hold on to it in some way much longer than we should. Can I get an amen on that? Have you ever been there? Some would say, been there, put it in the chat room, been there. And so now we're holding on to something that we ought not be holding on to. We're having difficulty letting it loose, letting it go, releasing it. And we're trying so hard with all our might that it's causing more duress than it ought to. Sometimes we mask it over. We try to figure out something that can tape it up. As if it's going to make a difference, because we don't want to let it go. We don't want to release it. We want to hold on to it, although it's breaking up, although it's cracking us up, it's breaking us apart. It's doing what it ought to be doing, because it's not good for our lives at that point. Here's another commercial. Did I tell you I was an advertiser? I love commercials. I'm the guy that watches the Super Bowl and am fascinated on the commercials rather than the game. That's me. And there's this other commercial that I remember, and perhaps you do as well. It was for Vaseline Intensive Care. And they had this autumn leaf. You know how autumn leaves, the leaves that fall from the tree, they had this beautiful red leaf, but you can tell that the leaf was on its way out. It didn't have much time. It was cracking at the veins and the seams and such. And so some advertiser got the great idea, very creative, to take a pump of Vaseline Intensive Care lotion and to gently rub it on the leaf. And then this is the part that this is a little bit of puffery, as we used to call it. This is the part that you really couldn't believe. And then they crumpled it up and then opened up their hand, and the leaf sprung to life as if it was spring again, right? There's a time and a season for everything. And then when that season is done, there should be a moment of reflection, a time in which we think about the things that worked, and then maybe the mistakes that we made, the things that didn't quite work out the way that we would like it to. Those moments when we achieved what we desired to achieve, and those moments when we took on way too much, overloaded, took on more than we could chew. And in that moment, rather than to try to hold on to it, rather than to try to fix it, rather than to try to rub lotion on it and keep it from cracking, that's the time to let it go. And so my topic for today is entitled Relax, Renounce, Release. A daily recipe for renewal, restoration, and flow. And when we look at nature, don't we always see renewal? Don't we always see restoration? Don't we always see a flow, a pattern? Especially now, as we watch the trees and the leaves change on the trees, and how beautiful they are, and the wind is coming and whipping through, and the rain is weighing those leaves down, and with ease and grace, they float off the tree. We don't see the tree going out on a limb trying to catch the leaf and hold on to it. We just simply see the trees lovingly release them and let them go. Why? Because it is that season to do so. Knowing that there is another season to come. A season of hibernation, a season of renewal, a season to rest. And then a season after that in which a restoration, a regeneration takes place. Happens every year, without fail. Since I've been on the earth, I've always been able to see it. And I've always been able to connect it with my own life. I've always been able to say, what is it here now, in this moment, in this month, that I need to back off from, let go of? And that's not an easy thing, because if I was going by appearances, I'd say, wait a minute, I worked all summer long to produce that leaf. I worked all summer long to achieve that goal. And now I gotta release it? Yes, I get it. It's not easy unless you get that there is an unfailing source that we call God that has already made arrangements for something new in your life. The arrangement has been made. The only question is, can you relax into it? Can you step into that truth, into that reality? The question is, can you renounce? Maybe another good word would be forgive. What may not have gone correct, or what this may look like temporarily. You know, trees without leaves aren't as pretty as trees with leaves. You might be the tree that says, "What? You making me let go of my beautiful leaves?" Wait, I want to speak to the manager. Who manages this universe? I always wanted to be an evergreen. How did I become an oak tree? That might be you. But can you relax and know that God's got this thing and is about to regenerate you in a way that you can't believe? Can you forgive what it looks like temporarily and just kind of put a sign out saying that I'm in the works for the spring? See you in 2023. And can you release any attachment that you have with the past, good, bad, or indifferent? In other words, can you be present to what's happening now? Relax. Renounce. Release. Relaxation is a letting go of tenseness in mind and in body. It's an abatement of strain, a loosening of the tight mental grip we have on ourselves in order that the healing life of Christ may flow freely through our being. That's what I mean when I talk about relaxing. Keeping your cool. Knowing that you're not separate or apart from a good God that has its eye on the sparrow, let alone you. So what you worried about? Can you get through this life knowing that all is well and well indeed, as we often say every single Sunday somewhere in our service? Can you live that? And one way that you can do that is to renounce, to renunciate, to, as the revealing word says, let go of old thoughts in order that new thoughts may find place in consciousness. The revealing word from Charles Fillmore, co-founder of the Unity Movement, goes on to say, a healthy state of mind is attained when the thinker willingly lets go of the old thoughts and take on the new. Renunciation is a mental thing. You get that? Renouncing is a voice thing. That's something you speak. That's something you speak into. That's something you say. It's a declaration. Renouncing is a declaration of one's abandonment. Can I use that word? Or let me put it this way. It's a declaration of one's abandonment of the claim or the right or the possession of a thing. It's the refusal to abide by those old thoughts. It's you putting voice to the thought by saying, thanks, but no thanks. I've made my choice. It's a choice that you are making that will change the vibration that the universe picks up on to know that you're ready for what's next in your life. When you are renouncing, when you're not, get this now, you're not doing it in hate or anger or bitterness or jadedness or angst or anything like that. With anxiety, none of that. You're doing it like this. No, I'm ready. No, I'm ready. No more of this. I'm ready for what's next. And then once you renounce, now you have fully released. Because you have put in the declaration. You have declared at that moment that you are in alignment with what is following in due season. And the proof of it is whatever you've released is making way for what's new. And this is why in years past we said, hey, you want a car? This is the time to clean your garage. Why? Because there's stuff that you're holding on to in your garage that is keeping you from your new car. You get that? The day after Thanksgiving, we call it constipation. In this context, we call it spiritual constipation. You're holding up your own good. Why? Because you are, like a beaver, you're damming up your flow. Because you're unwilling to let go of, you're holding on to something that needs to be released in order for you to receive what's next for you. You can't receive, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Got to be a juggler or something. But you can't receive something while something is still in your hand. Unless you're a juggler, then you might be able to do, but rarely, you see people able to hold on to the past and the present successfully. Is this helping anyone? Yes. All right, good. And so, what are some of the areas in our lives that would help us, that this would help us in? What are some of the areas in our lives that understanding how to relax, renounce, and release would help us move forward and progress? Areas like, now here's one that just happened, election night. Still holding on? Bereavement, grieving. I just saw Black Panther 2 in a theater near you. just yesterday. It was amazing. Oh, my goodness. That's all I got to say is, oh, just an amazing, everyone should see it. It's beautiful, beautiful. And I got wonderful reasons. I got levels of reasons that I enjoy Black Panther. One of which is that, again, going back to my childhood, I grew up with these comic books. I know the stories, and to see them in this way is amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's another sermon in itself, too. But, and this is a spoiler alert, I should say that, but not much. In Black Panther 2, they had a ceremony where they would burn the funeral clothes. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. What is that? That's a type of renunciation. It's saying that I am no longer attached to the body, and now I'm ready for what's next, something even grander. The experience of loved ones as ancestors, the experience of loved ones still in life. Relaxing, renouncing, and releasing can be very beneficial if we are enduring an experience of bereavement. Maybe you have a relationship that you have just been pushing and pushing and pushing, holding on to dear life, and maybe that it's that season for that relationship to have a new iteration, a new chapter through relaxing, renouncing, and releasing. Maybe it's time for new employment. But you don't know how to get out. You don't know how to let it go. Maybe it's retirement, but you're wondering, what am I to do afterwards? What's next? I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I don't know anything else. Maybe it's schooling. Maybe you are between semesters and you're still, you can't get to the new semester until you're able to release the old one. Maybe it's selfish ambition. Maybe that there's something that you have been so enthralled in that you lost yourself. And I'm happy to tell you that through relaxing, renouncing, and releasing, you can find yourself again. There are so many ways and so many areas in which we can use this practice. Aligning ourselves with that which we see in nature itself. And know that God is with us every step of the way. It's a faith walk. And so, lastly, how do we effectively relax, renounce, and release? How do I attain the peace that surpasses all understanding? How do I know with faith that what I release is going to be replenished in my life? How do I get past my spiritual constipation and find the right laxative that I need in the moment? Relax, lax, get it? Well, if you want to know that, then I invite you to join me on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time on our live stream, where we're going to go with a deeper dive on this subject. I'm going to show you how to use your spiritual gift of renunciation to prepare yourself for what's new and what's next and what's magnificent coming into your life. And I'm going to stay true to the Thanksgiving analogy as we talk about the things we ingest, the things we digest, the things we assimilate, and the things we eliminate. And so you'll have to wait a few more days to get the answer. But I got one for you. And I know that it's something that will bless your life as you have blessed mine. In the name, the nature, the consciousness, and the conviction of Christ Jesus, so it is, so we are. Amen.